We now start module 4 of chapter 5. The title of this module is Winding Number. In this module, we prove some important results of complex analysis which are quite different from the theory of functions of a real variable. One of such result is if f is analytic in a domain D, then all the derivative of f exist and analytic in D. The result is not true for the case of functions of a real variable. As for example, we consider the function fx equal to x to the power 4 by 3. It is obvious that the function has a first derivative for all x belongs to R and f dash x equal to 4 by 3 x to the power 1 by 3. It is to be noted that f dash x is not differentiable at x equal to 0. That is, the function fx has no second derivative at x equal to 0. This result is an important difference between the function of a real variable and function of a complex variable. We already discussed about Cauchy fundamental theorem or Cauchy-Good-Set theorem. It states that if f is analytic in a domain D and gamma is a simple closed rectifiable curve lying in D, then integral over gamma fz dz equal to 0. So, we might expect a function fz to be analytic at z0 if integral over c fz dz equal to 0, where c is a closed curve containing the point z0. Unfortunately, the converse of Cauchy fundamental theorem is not true. We do have partial converse of this theorem which is true for multiply connected domain also. For that, we prove Morera's theorem. After that, we will introduce winding number of a closed curve around a point z0. At last, we provide some examples. Now, we start our presentation. So, we start our module winding number. We prove an important result which is quite different from the theory of functions of a real variable. If fz is analytic in a domain D, then all the derivatives of fz exist and are analytic in D. So, proof: let z0 be an arbitrary point in D and we consider the circle C having center at z0 and radius r. The radius is so small that C lies entirely within D. So, here D is any closed contour and C is a circle having center at z0 and radius r, and C lies entirely within D. So, then for n equal to 0, 1, 2 etc. and for any alpha inside C, we have nth derivative of f at alpha is equal to factorial n by 2 pi I integral over C fz by z minus alpha to the power n plus 1 dz. So, thus fz has a derivative of all order in a neighborhood of z0. since z0 is arbitrary, we can conclude that all the derivatives of fz exist and are analytic functions in D. This proves our result. So note, in basic calculus, we have learnt that the existence of the derivative of fx does not guarantee the continuity of the derivative f dash x. We consider the function fx equal to x to the power 5 by 3, which has a first derivative for all x belongs to set of real numbers, and f dash x equal to 5 by 3 x to the power 2 by 3. We note that f dash x does not have a first derivative at x equal to 0, and therefore we can say that fx does not have a second derivative at x equal to 0. Similarly, the function fx equal to x to the power 7 by 3 has a first and second derivative in R, but has no third derivative at x equal to 0. Thus, theorem 1 does not hold in case of functions of a real variable. This result gives an essential difference between functions of a real variable and functions of a complex variable. So now corollary, if f equal to u plus iv is analytic in a domain D, then all the partial derivatives of u and v exist and are continuous in D. So prove, let f equal to u plus iv analytic in D. Then we have f dash z equal to ux plus ivx, and that is by Cauchy-Riemann equation equal to vy minus iuy. F dash z being analytic in D, it is continuous in D, and hence each of the first order partial derivatives of u and v must exist and are continuous in D. Also, because of analyticity of f dash z in D, we obtain from above f double dash z equal to u xx plus I v xx, that is equal to vx of y minus I into ux of y, that is equal to vy of x minus I uy of x. This process may be continued to conclude that u and v have continuous partial derivatives of all orders at each point where the function f is analytic. Now we consider an example. Evaluate integral over c log z by z minus 1 whole cube dz, where c is the circle mod z minus 2 equal to 3 by 2. So the center of the circle C is z equal to 2 and radius is 3 by 2. The function fz, which is equal to log z by z minus 1 whole cube, is not analytic at the point z equal to 1, and obviously z equal to 1 lies inside C. Therefore, from Cauchy integral formula for nth derivative, here we take n equal to 2, we obtain f double dash 1 equal to factorial 2 by 2 pi I integral over C log z by z minus 1 whole cube dz. that is we obtain integral over c log z by z minus 1 whole cube dz is equal to pi I into f double dash 1, and that is equal to minus pi I. So naturally we might expect a function fz to be analytic at a point alpha if integral over c fz dz equal to 0 along every simple closed rectifiable curve in which alpha is an interior point. Unfortunately, this converse of Cauchy fundamental theorem is not true. As for example, integral over c 1 by z square dz is equal to 0 along every simple closed rectifiable curve c having the origin as an interior point. This is because fz equal to 1 by z square is analytic in the region between c and some circle mod z equal to epsilon contained in c. Therefore, by Cauchy theorem, for multiply connected regions we have integral over c 1 by z square dz is equal to integral over mod z equal to epsilon 1 by z square dz, that is equal to integral over 0 to 2 pi I epsilon e to the power I theta by epsilon square e to the power 2 I theta d theta, and that is by simple calculation we obtain I by epsilon 0 to 2 pi e to the power minus I theta d theta, and which is equal to 0. But we do have a partial converse to Cauchy fundamental theorem even when the domain D is not simply connected. So now we prove Morera's theorem. The theorem is, let fz be continuous in a simply connected domain D if integral over gamma fz dz equal to 0 along every simple closed rectifiable curve gamma contained in D, then fz is analytic in D. So proof, let alpha be a fixed point and z be a variable point in D. Then the value of the integral alpha to z fw dw is independent of the path so long the path lies in D. For this, see next figure. So here alpha is any fixed point within D and z be a variable point. So this is a simple closed curve, and this is the point z plus h which lies entirely within D. So now we consider gz equal to integral over alpha to z fw dw. Let h be a complex number such that z plus h lies inside D. Then gz plus h minus gz is equal to integral over alpha to z plus h fw dw minus integral over alpha to z fw dw, which is equal to integral over z to z plus h fw dw. Therefore, modulus gz plus h minus gz by h minus fz is equal to modulus 1 by h integral over z to z plus h fw dw minus fz, and that is less or equal to 1 by mod h integral over z to z plus h modulus fw minus fz mod dw. Since fz is continuous at z given epsilon positive, we can find a delta positive such that modulus Fw minus Fz is less than epsilon whenever modulus W minus Z is less than delta. So, choosing mod H less than delta, we see that modulus Fw minus Fz is less than epsilon for all point W lying on the straight line joining Z to Z plus H. Therefore, using ML formula, we obtain modulus Gz plus H minus Gz by H minus Fz is less or equal to 1 by mod H into epsilon into mod H, which is equal to epsilon. Therefore, proceeding limit as H tending to 0, we obtain limit H tending to 0 Gz plus H minus Gz by H equal to Fz, which gives G dash Z equal to Fz. This shows that Gz is analytic in D. Thus, Fz being the derivative of an analytic function is itself analytic in D. This proves our result. So, we note the following. We note that even if Fz is analytic in a domain D, we are not guaranteed that integral over C Fz dz equal to 0 along every simple closed rectifiable curve C contained in D. The function Fz equal to 1 by Z is analytic in the annulus bounded by the circles mod Z equal to 1 by 3 and mod Z equal to 3 by 2. But integral over mod Z equal to 1 by Z dz is equal to 2 pi I, even though the circle is contained in that annulus. Note, however, that the interior of mod Z equal to 1 is not contained in the annulus, so that Cauchy theorem is not applicable. For a simply connected domain, it is true that the integral around every simple closed contour in the domain is 0. In view of Morera's theorem, we can say that a necessary and sufficient condition for a continuous function to be analytic in a simply connected domain is that the integral be independent of the path of integration. So far, we have proved that if f is analytic in a domain D, then all the derivative of f exist and analytic in D. We provide an example to show that this result is not true for the function of a real variable. We also proved Morera's theorem, which is the partial converse of Cauchy fundamental theorem or Cauchy-Goodset theorem. We now explain the winding number of a closed curve with respect to a point. We also give analytic definition of winding number and its geometrical interpretation. We also discuss some properties of winding number. We now go to our slide. We now discuss winding number or index of a curve. Now we introduce the concept of winding number or index of a closed curve with respect to a point. Suppose that gamma is a simple closed curve in the complex plane C and A is a given point in C slash gamma. Then there is a useful formula that measures how often gamma winds around A. For example, if gamma is a set containing all those Z such that z minus a equal to r e to the power I theta, where theta varies from 0 to 2k pi including both the endpoint, then gamma encircles the point A k times in positive sense. Also, we see that integral over gamma dz by z minus a is equal to integral over 0 to 2k pi I r e to the power I theta by r e to the power I theta d theta, and that is equal to 2k pi I. From this we obtain 1 by 2 pi I integral over gamma dz by z minus a is equal to k. From this we also see that if gamma encircles the point A k times in negative sense, then 1 by 2 pi I integral over gamma dz by z minus a is equal to minus k. Therefore, in both the cases, either in positive sense or in negative sense, 1 by 2 pi I integral over gamma dz by z minus a is an integer. Now we give the analytic definition of winding number. Let gamma be a closed rectifiable curve and A be a point not on the curve gamma. Then the index or winding number n of gamma with respect to the point A is given by the integral n gamma A is equal to 1 by 2 pi I integral over gamma dz by z minus a. So, geometrically speaking, the winding number counts the number of rounds of a curve around a point. It is a positive integer for positive oriented curves and a negative integer for curves with negative orientation. If the point A is enclosed by a simple closed rectifiable curve, then n gamma A is 1, and if A is outside the curve, then n gamma A is 0. For this, see next figure. So, here the curve surrounds A 1 times. So, here A is inside point, B is outside point, and here A is inside point, C is inside and B is outside point. So, for this n gamma A is 1, but n gamma C is 2, n gamma B is 0. Figure 3 shows how the index number changes with respect to the orientation and nature of curves. Here we see that for first one n gamma A is 1, n gamma B is 0. For second one n gamma A is minus 1, n gamma B is 0, and for the last n gamma A is 1, n gamma B is 0 and n gamma C is 2. So, now we discuss properties of the winding number. Number 1, for every closed rectifiable curve gamma in C and every A belongs to C except gamma, n gamma A is an integer. Number 2, if gamma is a closed rectifiable curve in C, then the mapping from A to n gamma A is a continuous function of A at any A not belong on gamma. Number 3, if gamma is the sum of two closed rectifiable curves gamma 1 and gamma 2 in a complex plane, then for every A not on gamma we have n gamma A is equal to n gamma 1a plus n gamma 2a. So now we consider an example. Let C be a closed rectifiable curve which contains the origin inside it, so that a to the power n by factorial n is equal to 1 by 2 pi I integral over C e to the power az by z to the power n plus 1 dz. So solution: let alpha be an arbitrary point which lies inside C. Then by Cauchy integral formula for nth derivative, we obtain nth derivative of f at alpha is equal to factorial n by 2 pi I integral over C fz by z minus alpha to the power n plus 1 dz. Since C contains the origin within it, we can take alpha as 0. Therefore, we obtain nth derivative of f at 0 is equal to factorial n by 2 pi I integral over C fz by z to the power n plus 1 dz. So letting fz equal to e to the power az, we obtain from above a to the power n equal to factorial n by 2 pi I integral over C e to the power az by z to the power n plus 1 dz. From this we obtain a to the power n by factorial n is equal to 1 by 2 pi I integral over C e to the power az by z to the power n plus 1 dz. So we consider another example. If f is analytic within and on a simple closed rectifiable curve gamma and alpha is a point interior to gamma, then so that 1 by factorial n integral over gamma nth derivative of f by z minus alpha dz is equal to integral over gamma fz by z minus alpha to the power n plus 1 dz. So solution: since fz is analytic within and on gamma, nth derivative of f is also analytic within and on gamma. Also alpha is an interior point of gamma. Therefore, by Cauchy integral formula for the function nth derivative of f at the point z, we obtain nth derivative of f at alpha is equal to 1 by 2 pi I integral over gamma nth derivative of f at the point z by z minus alpha dz. Again, nth derivative of f at alpha is equal to factorial n by 2 pi I integral over C fz by z minus alpha to the power n plus 1 dz. So comparing these two results, we obtain the required result. At the end of this module, we prove a result which gives an essential difference between the theory of functions of a real variable and functions of complex variable. We also prove Morera's theorem, which is the partial converse of Cauchy fundamental theorem or Cauchy-Good-Set theorem. We also discuss about winding number of a closed curve with respect to a point. We provide some examples relating to this module. For more problems, please see the self-assessment part of this module, and also you can consult any reference books. This ends module 4 of chapter 5.